I'm taking it back for another vintage classic, chicken a la king. This is at my mom's request, so I'm gonna deliver. Chicken a la king is an easy, creamy, yet elegant chicken dish. I am, of course, going to make just a couple small upgrades. I'm gonna start with about half of a white onion and some red bell pepper. Now, in the old school OG version, it uses a jar of pimentos. Not a huge fan, and all a pimento is a pepper. This dish was not named after a king. The most popular theory is that it was named after the owner of a hotel in which the chef first prepared it. It does point to being named after someone with the last name of king versus an actual person in royalty. What is iconic in the dish, besides the pimento or pepper, are mushrooms. In our throwback recipe, and in a lot of the vintage recipes, it calls for canned mushrooms. We're not gonna do that, okay. We are going to do baby portobellos. You could just do button mushrooms, but I think these have a little bit more flavor, a little bit of a meatier flavor, and we're just gonna slice them. Or you can buy them already sliced. All of the ingredients are pretty affordable, so this is a good meal for entertaining on a budget. It's also a good use for any leftover chicken or rotisserie chicken that you might have. This is a good meal to do with that. I cooked off some chicken, kind of dice it up or cut it into like big shreds. I kind of like chunky shreds. Just like to get like a good bite of chicken instead of like having like big shreds throughout. Into the pan we go. Start with 6 tablespoons of butter, and you just want to melt that. Once the butter's melted, in goes the onion and the bell pepper. Give your onion and bell pepper a little head start, and then in go the mushrooms. Once all your veggies are softened, then we're going in with some flour. We are creating a roux, thus our own cream sauce. I love this recipe because we don't have to use any can of cream of anything. Okay, then in goes our liquid. I'm doing a combination of chicken broth or stock and heavy cream. Key ingredient in the vintage is some dry sherry. A good little splash of that. Cream goes in. All right, so I'm gonna bring that to a simmer and then I'll season it up. Some salt and pepper, and then add in my chicken and frozen peas. That sherry adds a lot of flavor. You see how easy and quick that is. The final step, and this is not in all of the recipes, but it's in a lot of the vintage ones, is to kind of richen it up with some egg yolks. You want to start with 2 egg yolks, and I'm going to whisk the egg yolks together with about 1/4 cup of this cream mixture. This will temper the yolks so that we don't end up with scrambled eggs. Probably could have taken that out before I added the peas and the chicken. Okay, and then you're going to stir this into this. And this is just going to take it to another level, to royalty status, if you will. Oh yeah, it's just like a velvety, thick, creamy, delicious experience. Let's see how it tastes. My mom knows a good thing, y'all. This is ready. It just simmers for about 5 minutes, and we can dish it up. A vintage meal wouldn't be complete without some parsley. Who needs fancy scallops or foie gras when you can have chicken a la king? It is like a fancied up, leveled up chicken pot pie experience, but served over rice. I don't know how you could improve this. This is like a 12 out of 10. I also think crusty bread is a great vessel for this. This is probably the way I would stand over my stove and eat it. It's making me feel fancy, and it's like making me feel like I lived back then, that I want to drink a vintage cocktail to go with it. Let's make a sidecar. Doesn't that just sound fancy? I remember Barefoot Contessa made a sidecar. Nice. A sidecar is a vintage cocktail, just equal parts fresh lemon juice with some brandy and a little bit of orange liqueur. Sounds delightful. Gets a little sugar on the rim. Voila. Cheers to a classic.